Check, check. One, two, three, four. Hello, hello. All right. Who is in the chat already? Paul Holder. What's going on, brother? Meme Alliance. I see Carlos, DEFCON. If you guys can hear me and you can see me clearly, please just give me a thumbs up in the chat so I know that everything's cool. I sent Elmoshi the link, and I'm just waiting for him to join. But in the meantime, if you guys can let me know everything's good, I'd appreciate that. I know there's a delay, so that's fine. All right, awesome. There's a crazy delay. I actually just got the thumbs up from you guys saying that everything was cool. So yeah, we're gonna wait for Elmoshi to jump in, and we're gonna chit chat a little bit for the first time in a long time, really, about MMA. And here he is, right on time, just as I said it. Let me wait for him to connect. What's going on, brother? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Can you hear
Let's go.
me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What's happening? How you been, man?
Busy, busy, busy. You know how it
Yeah,
is.
yeah, I
Not,
know.
not only with crypto though, not only with Nima Lines, but like, life and everything. Busy, busy.
Yeah, man. You got a family and everything, right? You got to
Yep.
walk. You got to walk your dog. You got shit to do.
Yeah, I just had a kebab, for example, as well, so yeah.
I'm
I have
sorry.
things.
I'm sorry. You just had a what?
A kebab. How do you call that in American? A kebab,
I don't.
right?
I don't know. What is that?
A kebab, you don't know the Turkish type of bread roll kind of thing with meat and salad. How do you call that in American? It's kebab as well. She's kebab.
A sandwich? I have no idea.
No, you for sure call it kebab as well, I think. But it's a dish.
All
A
right.
dish.
Cool.
I'm satisfied and happy and ready to go. Let's say it in that
Yeah.
way.
So for me, it's first thing in the well, not really first thing in the morning. It's 11 o'clock in the morning. But for you, it's like dinner time, right? Isn't it like 5 or 6 o'clock?
Yeah, five it is. Yeah.
All right, that's cool. Okay, so because it's 5 o'clock and it's Saturday and probably family day, and you got a million things to do, I wanted to keep this relatively short. I kind of just want to get an update of what's happening. I haven't, we haven't really chatted in a while. There hasn't been a lot to really talk about. It's not that things haven't been happening. It's just that the things that are happening, and there's a shitload that's happening, are all behind the scenes. Conversations that are being had, partnerships and development of MMA and all that stuff. So it's at a point now where I think you guys are ready to kind of break loose very, very soon with Meme Alliance, and I'm happy to have you on. I thank you for actually joining me because I thought now it might be a nice time to get out a little bit of an update before things actually really start popping off. So, what can you tell me? We'll jump right into it. What can you tell me about MMA and where we're at right now?
Yeah, so it's a good point what you said that maybe like our community, our investors, they don't really see much happening, right? But I think that is quite normal with the type of project we have because it's not that we just are releasing a simple staking pool or this or that. We are building an actual product, right? A game. And it's true what you're saying that even though they might not see much announcements or like much exact communication of what's exactly going on, there is a lot going on in the background.
Yeah,
Um, Most importantly, we're still working on that update release, which is hopefully very soon. The reason it takes longer is because we wanted to improve some things ourselves as well, like the characters. Because the characters in this current version, they don't really have fur, they don't really have much detail, and we wanted to give them more detail, right? So we have been working a lot on improving the detail on the character with really high quality fur. On top of that, our designer is also working on three characters on the background, right? He's also going to soon start working on the next map. So we have already kind of laid out the next map, right? And we're going to start working on that as well soon. However, most important is to release a version which is properly playable with good servers and with an actual connection with crypto through leaderboards, right? That's kind of what our focus is mainly now. And that is coming along really well. Like you say, that's, I hope, pretty soon. I mean, we should be at a point where we should get another build soon and we should be able to test and pretty much be ready. On top of that, we have already prepared a decent marketing package, and that's not around influencers and KOLs and all that stuff too much, because I think if it's about player acquisition, that's not the way. Influencers are good for a pump chart, right? To pump a chart or to just awareness for a token in general. But our main goal is when we have the new releases, especially to do a lot of player acquisition and not even only focusing on Web3, right? Even on Web2 players, so that we just want people to play the game, give their opinion, right? Even if it's negative, we don't mind, right? We will improve it. But the main goal is player acquisition. And that is why we have prepared marketing mainly around advertisements and press releases. And with advertisements, I mean not on crypto platforms only. It's like a really like global type of advertisements on YouTube, Instagram, Telegram, Facebook, you name it, right? It's going to be mostly around ads. And that is actually what most big game developers do as well. They are mainly into ads, right? They are not so much into social media in a way that they are asking influencers to play their game or all that stuff, right? They are mainly into ads. On top of that, obviously, we have been working on the immutable integration, which will be with this release as well. What does that mean? It basically means that people with an immutable passport wallet can connect using that wallet to our game, right? And in the future, we will be releasing a marketplace on immutable and next to our own marketplace, because we still have the goal to have our own marketplace as well in the future. But immutable makes it just possible for us to do that much earlier, right? Because we don't have to develop a entire marketplace, so to say, and we can use theirs, right? I mean, it's a really good marketplace. They have templates in place and everything, right? You just say which asset you want to sell, for how much, for which currency, connect it to your game, and you have it, right? It's not like you have to, build contracts and you have to do audits, and that's everything is done by immutable. That's why immutable is so extremely bullish for us. On top of that, we have already our token live on the immutable chain, Immutable X. So if you want to, you can actually move your tokens from Ethereum to immutable right now. It's possible. There is a bridge available for that. However, we haven't really pushed so much, explaining people that they can bridge, because we first want to release as well a sort of a staking pool on IMX, right? And why on IMX? Because the gas fees are literally less than a cent per transaction, right? And it makes more sense to do a staking pool on such a chain than doing it on Ethereum, right? Because on Ethereum, the only way for staking to be actually profitable is that you offer very high returns. But with MMA, we don't want to offer extremely high returns, because in the long run, that's not good for the project, right? We want to offer a good return. And that's why we decided to build staking on immutable. If it's about the process of bridging from ETH to immutable, it's super easy. They have their own bridge widget. You basically connect your wallet and you say you want to send from Ethereum to immutable, and you pretty much receive the tokens on the same wallet, right? Because you can use MetaMask or Trust Wallet. It's just that they're on a different network. I mean, those are the things we've been mainly working on. On top of that, we're still working on a new website, which actually is already done, but we want to wait exactly for that staking pool and everything to be up so that we can integrate that as well into the website, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, overall, a lot going on. And we are also working with new partners as well. We also made a partnership with CLS Global, which is a market maker, right? Which market makers are important if you want to somewhat keep control over your and not, I wouldn't say price, but keep control over not being destroyed, to say it in a simple way, right? Because a lot of tokens that don't use market makers, they just get their liquidity just gets flushed, right, by bots and everything, and you need a market maker. So we made a partnership with CLS. And for the rest, I mean, the main focus is the game, and I think that a lot of people are impatient, and I do understand that, especially if you're used to meme coins, right? You're mainly looking at the chart, and in our case, I think that's something you shouldn't do too much, because we are building first and pushing later, so to say, right? But we are not a so-called degen play. It's a gamified project with an actual utility token and an actual, if you can call it, even a governance token, right, for the game. So it's a product. It's not a degen play, so to say.
It's been a little while since you and I have chatted, and I almost forgot how I need to rein you in because if I just let you go, you'll talk about seven things and go
You
on
wanted a
talk.
summary. That was a summary.
That was a summary, all right. All right. I'm gonna back you up just a little bit,
Sure.
because there are so many things in there to unpack of what you just said, and that was an awesome summary. Thank you very much for that. I want to go back to one of the first things you said, and talking about the fur. And this is probably the least important of everything that you just said, but I
Well,
just
actually
remember.
not.
I'm
Actually
sorry.
not, Actually not, because a lot of people they think, it's just some fur, right? But on the other hand, if you want to differentiate yourself from other crypto games, I think very high quality detail is important because I think a lot of crypto games are pretty good gameplay wise, but the quality is often lacking.
Well,
Like
that's what I kind of want to make a point about, right? So
yeah,
when I saw, because you've been releasing pictures on X of the fur, and now in the first version of the beta, everything was kind of flat. There was no fur. But these pictures that I've seen, what struck me about them, and I don't know how many other people picked this up, the fur is not like, I'm talking about Elmo specifically, right? The
yes,
fur makes it look like an actual Elmo doll that little kids have and keep with them. And it's that natty, matted kind of bumpy kind of fur.
yeah,
Um, so you stayed true, or whoever's developing it, and right, stayed really true to the actual feeling, the actual look of Elmo. They didn't come up with some bullshit fur just to throw fur on it to, whatever, to say, oh, here's fur. I mean, they really wanted to make it look like something that's relatable, something that people have seen. Um,
yeah,
and and to me, that really spoke to uh, the attention to detail, the unbelievable attention to detail that you guys are putting into this. And a lot of people, I guess, have complained, and even you guys to a degree realize that maybe this game should have been released by now, right? But the reason that it's not is because it is these little details that you insist upon that are going to set this apart from everything else that you see out there. And
yeah.
I think that's awesome. I really do.
Yeah, I mean, it's not only that; it's also that the person who designs these characters, who is in our team, Alliance Architect, as you know him,
Yep.
he is a perfectionist, like to the top. Like he wouldn't. I mean, the first characters also were made by him, and there was actually fur, but they weren't integrated in the game. So it's not that there wasn't fur, but he actually looked at them and he thought, this needs to be better, right? So he actually worked for a really long time to get these things done. And a cool thing is that actually these um, characters now also have so-called LODs, which is I think it's called, if I'm not mistaken, layer of details is the correct abbreviation of that.
Okay.
But it basically means that it will allow people to see much higher quality characters from close. But as further the characters move away from you, that quality kind of fades away because it's simply not required, right? You don't see it anyway from distance. So what does that mean? It means also that the gameplay will be more fluent because you don't have a constant, so to say, level of quality and making it too heavy, right? For some computers, for example, that's what LODs are for, right?
Okay.
So
Yep.
when you see the character up close, it's like perfect, but for example, it goes further away. Well, it doesn't look perfect. I mean, in a way that if you would stand close to it now, but anyway, you're not standing close to it, if you know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
So that's going to help a lot with the general like smoothness of the game, and it's not going to be as heavy.
Right. Well, you guys have been saying it, and I've even said it because I've heard it from you since the beginning. This just is not going to be your average or your typical. You could do that. You could have done it and released it, and it would have been out. But you're really, really creating something special. And
Yeah, I mean, we could have released something half good, right? So to say,
yeah,
and there is many half good games out there in crypto. There is many shooters which, I mean, they play pretty nicely, right? Um, but they are in the graphics of Counter-Strike 1.6, right? And then I'm like, okay, yeah, I mean, it's just a crypto game, people might say, right? But if everybody thinks that way, then the general quality and the general level of gaming in crypto won't go up, right? I mean, we need to also deliver quality, right? Not just quantity.
right.
Because there's a lot of shooters, right? First person shooters, third person, but most of the ones they are really like with low poly kind of shooters, right? Like I'd rather play Counter Strike 1.6, so to say, if you know what I mean. But I mean, they have players, and it's not that they don't have players. Maybe they are maybe even more successful in a way if it's about the chart, it's about the market cap right now. But I think if you want to build something like lasting, it has to be high quality, right? Because I think if it's low quality, people get a little bit bored with it over time.
And plus, there are bigger plans for Meme Alliance going forward. I mean, as technology kind of advances, I haven't really kept track of it, but I know that there were some consoles that were talking about maybe even this year being able to integrate some DeFi stuff, right? So
Yeah,
Xbox and
PlayStation, I
PlayStation,
believe.
yeah,
Yeah.
PlayStation, right? Again, I haven't kept track of it, so I don't know how far along they are, or if they're still on track to actually do that this year. But when you start off with a really, really high quality project or product, it's probably that much easier to move it forward
Correct.
into some of these other platforms, as opposed to if you're starting from garbage and you're trying to upgrade it into, it's going to be impossible. So, yeah,
Yeah,
I
that
mean,
is
in so
why.
many ways, it's very, very smart the way you're doing it.
Yeah, because that is also why we didn't start even with a mobile integration. Because I mean, first you need to have a very good polished version on PC, right?
Yep.
I mean, then making it into a mobile version, it takes obviously some time, but it's not something very complex, especially when the general quality of the game and the general mechanics are all good on PC. It's just a matter of taking down the how do you call it? I guess the specs, right, for a mobile game, and you add a mobile kind of controls to it, and there you have it, right? It's not that complex anymore, especially not anymore in Unreal 5. Um, that one is, made for easily transiting from PC to mobile, right? Even to console.
Right. Um, awesome. So, all right, right now you guys have been testing this second version of the beta for a while. And the way it was explained to me by both you and Elmofo Dev is that they weren't necessarily problems, but there were things that you just wanted to be better.
Yes.
Really nitpicking on things, right? Really, really just being perfectionist about it.
Yes.
But we're getting closer and closer to that beta being released for us all to play. Yeah, I mean, can you give any idea of how close we might be?
Oof. I mean, I hope to say July, right? But July is already like where we are? Like, I guess it's the
We're
20th
halfway
today.
through it.
Yeah, exactly. So, I guess August, like half August would be probably a good estimation.
Okay.
I think it's also quite okay for it to not be rushed right now, because the market, even though it is going up a little bit again, it's kind of like, not much happening, if you know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
And I think August, September is going to be the moment we're going to see more retail moving in, and we're going to see also more, I think, gamers, joining the general crypto market. And the reason why we're kind of picky with all of it is also because IMX came into play, right? And it's not because it's a requirement of theirs, but we just know that once we put our game on their platform, it will potentially get thousands and thousands of players, right? And you don't want these people to get on and be frustrated about things, even small things, right? So we want it to be kind of close to perfect, this version. I mean, it is not a gigantic version in a way of assets and skins and maps and everything. That's not there yet. It's just a very strong, so to say, base, right, of what we are going to have in the future and what we're going to expand.
Yeah. I don't want to ignore the chat. There are some guys in here that are kind of chit-chatting. Yeah, Peter reminds you, please make sure that you hit the like button. Just kind of do it now if you haven't already done it, so you don't forget. share the video, let people know that we're here, and feel free to just chat it up and ask some questions. I will scroll through, get to your questions, and get to Master. I'm sorry, get to Elmoshi, with those questions. But I also want to have this conversation and get some information out. So, poor holder again, thanks for being here. What's going on? This camera's been giving me problems. All right, I did see a question here or there. La 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 la. I'd like to know about exposure. Oh yeah, Peter said he'd like to know about exposure to more CEXs. Is there anything in the works? Is that even a major concern right now with the market being the way it is? Getting on other exchanges, or what do you think that actually
No,
would do for you?
I mean, probably if we would list on Binance or on KuCoin or a big
Right.
exchange, it will obviously, help the price temporarily at least, right? But I think that's for us at this point is definitely not priority, especially because I think that once you have a product that actually, has players and people actually play it and people actually like it and you're unique in the crypto space, those exchanges, they might even come to you. I'm not saying that they will list you for free, right? But they might give you a very favorable option to list, right? And to now, for example, spend 150,000 or $200,000 on an exchange because that's how much they cost, right? A good exchange. I
Yep.
think it's not really fitting in what we are trying to achieve here. I mean, we didn't do a race with venture capitals, right? We didn't receive millions and millions of dollars, right? To build this, we actually just did a one pre-sale on Ethereum token, and actually I think we're still above that pre-sale price or around the pre-sale price, which is already an achievement, to be honest, because a lot of pre-sales they don't manage, right? They often dump under their price heavily after some time, but we are still actually around that price. We have had I believe a 3x from launch price, I think 2 or 3 times, right? But right now, I mean, for us, the most important is to actually, deliver the game, and after that, we will consider listing on exchange. Because I honestly think like we do get offers from smaller exchanges. You can think about P2B. You can think about Coin Store. Those smaller ones, right? La Token. They're not worth it. They're totally not worth it. They just cost you money, and they cost you especially money because you have to maintain market makers on them, right? And that's why we decided to put this not as a priority. I do know for investors this is important because every big exchange listing, let's call it big exchange listing, will affect the price, right? But I think we should take maybe a good example of a project which has been actually organically building and just got listed on almost all top tier one exchanges. Banana Bot, you know it for sure, Trev. I mean, these guys have been always building, 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 right? Not too much worrying about exchanges, not too much worrying about marketing too much, right? They just were building and expanding their bot, and they just suddenly got listed on all these tier one exchanges, and they just went from I don't know, from like $10 in value to almost $80 in value, right? And there are somewhere around a 200 million market cap suddenly.
Yeah,
And
but
I think that's probably
those are tier one exchanges. That's the thing. I've had this
yeah.
conversation with people over and over. I'm really not sure why the general community it feels like you need to get on the MEXCs and you need to get on all these tier two exchanges because they seem to think that once that happens, something is going to launch. And I have never ever seen that happen. I've never the only
No, well, I mean, for memes, it does work, right? Like a meme, but for memes, it only works when they list on like these top tier exchanges, like we saw with Pepe, for example, right?
right.
Like we saw with even Shipcoin, right? In 2021, 2020 was the same thing. But you have a lot of these bigger meme coins right now, with big communities, but they are not getting listed on those big exchanges. For some reason people they feel the need that they must be on there, right? And I think that's mainly a feeling of security that they are approved, or how or maybe even like in a way controlled by tier ones, right? Because when a tier one lists you like Binance, often they actually support your liquidity and and your volume, and they kind of secure a project. That is why Binance is so bullish most of the time for memes especially. Um, but I know some gaming projects that raised also a shooter. Um, I will not say the name, but they raised, I believe, $15 million. They are listed on KuCoin, on Gate.io, on Bybit, on pretty much all exchanges apart from Binance, right? And their chart looks like shit. You know,
Mm.
I mean, they have gone down from their launch price like 80% almost, right?
Yep. Yep.
And they have an amazing product, but for some reason the price isn't moving, and I think that is exactly because they are on too many exchanges. I think exchanges also they can work the opposite, right? Because if you don't have the money to keep market making them constantly, which costs you a lot of money for a lot of exchanges, right? Your chart will get destroyed by bots. And I think that's, for example, a case with the project I just mentioned, right? Even though they raise a lot of money, even though they are listed on a lot of exchanges and they have a very good shooter, the price isn't moving. And that is mainly, if you look at the sales, it's arbitrage selling, right? It's sell pressure from the exchanges. So I think it's at this moment not the most important thing, because I think it's also risky. I think Maxi is good because that's also why we listed there, because Maxi is a tier two, but it's like getting close to a tier one, right? And Maxi actually has good organic volume, not like Lbank, not like these other ones I mentioned before. They almost don't have any real volume, but Maxi has a lot of real volume, right? And it's actually a good exchange that has helped MMA in many situations to actually go up in price, right? Many times when we start running upwards, it's often because people start buying on Maxi, and on DEX it automatically goes up with it, right? So I think Maxi for now is fine. Obviously, we want to list on Binance, of course, right? But we don't want to risk our game, so to say, our actual project, for these kind of things.
Gotcha.
Yeah, because you can pay to list, right? It's not about that, but paying, it's really a lot of money. It's not we're not talking about $10,000-$15,000. Like sometimes people also with Elmo, right? They ask us when we are going to list on Gate or on KuCoin. And then people, I think, don't realize that KuCoin, even for a meme, even if you have a lot of hype, you need to have at least $200,000-$300,000, for only the listing fee. And on top of that, you need to have $200,000 for market making, right? So I mean, it's not just that, they just pick you and they list you, right? And that's why I was mentioning Banana, because I don't think that they paid actually for all those listings. I think that they just organically built their product, and they finally got the recognition they deserve. And I think, and I hope as well that's how it's going to work mainly in the future for tier one listings, right? That they actually list the product, right? Not only the volume, not only the hype, not only the money they pay.
Yeah. All right. So skipping through here again, somebody says Crypto Bear Baker, can we get a kangaroo character for the STX Roo? How often, how many times a day do you guys get suggestions for new characters to add to the game, or special moves or things that people want to see in the game just randomly? I mean, you must be
Oh, not
fielding
so
these
much.
things all day long.
No, not that bad actually. I mean, we do get a lot of partnership requests, right?
Yep.
And that's mainly happens when we announce a new partner, because then that post kind of like gives that message to other projects that, oh, they are making partnership with meme coins, right? And then they kind of contact us. We do get a lot of those requests, but we often get requests from projects that literally launched 3 or 4 days ago, and we we do want to somehow keep a standard, if you know what I mean, right?
Right.
I think that, in the beginning we were a bit different because we were new, we were kind of like nobody really knew about us. We had literally 200 holders. So we were like, okay, yeah, that's a nice character. Let's do it. But right now we actually kind of raised the bars a little bit, right? And that's not necessarily about market cap or volume or anything like that. This is more focused on the fact if a project has a community and a team that actually is trustworthy, right? And that are actually doing their thing as they promise. So we are not just putting every single token in here, right? That's the point.
Yeah. Crypto Bear reminds everybody like, share, subscribe. Appreciate that. Thank you. Paul is asking, are we still going to be able to stake Elmo for MMA as promised at 5 to 10%?
Yes.
Okay. There you go, Paul. Yes.
Yeah,
What
Paul
else?
reminds us very often, but it's it's that, we have a lot of stuff going on right now, and these things, I mean, everything we almost said, if it's about Elmo and also about MMA, like the promises, pretty much everything, it's also kind of ready, it's just that, we want to individually, each of these contracts to be tested, right, properly. Main delay comes from the fact that the test net for Ethereum too early kind of went obsolete, and we had to kind of redo everything on the new test net, right? And but pretty much all these things are ready. It's not that we don't have them, that we didn't do anything with it or something. We have a lot of things ready. Even if we're talking about Elmo, even a DEX is the thing. It's still a thing. But for Elmo, we kind of have a plan, a very good one, but it's kind of delayed for now. It should be definitely by the end of this year. Elmo should take fire, in my opinion, and on top of that, MMA as well, obviously, right?
Give me a little more detail about that because actually some people in the chat are asking about it. Uh, Elmo, some people fear, has just kind of sitting there and all the attention is on MMA, but you guys always said that you'd never actually forget about Elmo. Elmo was kind of your baby and what started it all off. So what are some of the things that you think are going to happen that could potentially, really push it by the end of the year?
Well, I think the main issue Elmo is having, it's an issue at the same time, but it's also a good thing. It's the burn tax. It has its pluses, but it has its minuses, right? The main reason why most of these memes they take off is first of all volume. It's second of all um, possibility for day traders to make money in an hour or two. They want to just buy quickly and sell, right? And community, right? And with Elmo, at the moment, we have none of them, to be honest. Like, I mean, community, we have a good community in a way that we have a lot of very good community members, but it's not too big, right? It's not big enough if it's about active community members. If it's about volume, I mean, you can go to text tools. You know what I mean? It's very low. And if it's about capability for day traders to come in on our chart and actually trade our token, that's impossible because whoever buys Elmo has to accept the fact that they're in a 10% loss, right? If you know what I mean. They need at
Yeah.
least a 10% gain in the price to, come back to the point where they bought in, right? Then again, the burn actually, on the other hand, has protected us for a very, very long time, even now still. I mean, our liquidity is so thick because of that burn that it's very hard for Elmo to go like even close to launch price, right? I think Elmo technically it would be very hard to even ever go below 300,000 or 400,000 market cap. The liquidity is so strong that it's very hard for that to happen, right? So kind of the thing, what I mean with big things are coming, is going to be in connection exactly with that tax, right? It's going to kind of, in a way, not be entirely dropped, but it's going to be made differently. It doesn't require a migration or anything like that, right? So it's not that people have to do a migration, but we will be doing that by the end of this year. And the good thing is that we will see more volume, right? And for example, now we have 10% burn tax. So if we have $1,000 volumes, we can burn $100, right? But what if you have 10,000 volume and you have a 1%, so to say, burn tax, then you can burn the same thing, right? So I think in reality, if you drop the burn tax from 10 to even 1%, you will burn probably more simply because you have more volume, right? So that's kind of where that is going. If it's about the DEX, I mean, we have a DEX ready, but the problem is a little bit with the DEX is like, mm, I think if you want to have a very, very successful DEX just like that, by just launching it, you need at least $1 to $2 million in money for marketing, for really the market to know about your DEX, right? Second thing is that I have never seen a DEX made by a meme coin that has been a big success. That's another thing. I mean, you have Shiba Swap, which is, right, it's doing its thing, right? But it's doing mainly the volume on their own chain, right? Nobody on Ethereum uses Shiba Swap, almost. I mean, I've never used it, and I don't see a reason why I would use it, to be honest, right? Same goes with Baby Doge Swap, right? Nobody uses that almost. Moncoin has its own DEX. Nobody uses that almost, right? Um, The only DEX that a meme coin that actually is being used is I know of it's Bond coin. That is a DEX that is actually being used actively, but that is mainly because first of all, it has a very big influencer behind it. And second of all, it's giving reward to the users, right? In a way. So I understand that one can have volume. But to now launch Elmo swap is gonna do nothing.
Yeah.
See that.
You know,
Especially because we don't have $1 million to put into marketing for DEX.
I hear you. Kind of speaking to Paul's thing about, you kind of made it a point to say, you know, as promised kind of thing. Um, uh, Correct me if I'm wrong on this. This is the way it feels to me. It feels like, because obviously I was there, you know, pretty early at the beginning of Elmo and at the creation of MMA. And along the way, yeah, there have been a lot of things that have been said, you know, we're working on this, we're building this is going to be fantastic, whatever. And then as time goes on, sometimes focus gets shift here and there. It feels like, and this actually, it just has to happen this way. This isn't a negative at all. It feels like maybe the market or maybe development, or as you're kind of moving along and pushing this thing and building it, it feels like you've realized that no, this is a bigger priority right now to launch us forward than that would be. We're still going to do that. We have that, but there's this other thing that we thought of, or this other thing that kind of materialized that makes more sense.
No,
So
it's not
as
that.
you,
It's not only that. I think
okay, go
if
ahead.
we want, it's not only that. It's just that it's with Elmo. I can give you a simple example, right? Elmo did very good in the beginning simply because it was a new token. We had a lot of volume. We had a lot of hype, right? We had Daba, as you know, in the beginning that pumped like 200K into the chart. You know, so obviously we went to 11 million market cap, right? If you remember, there was a big pump till like 2 cents something like 4 months ago or something, or 3 months ago.
Yep, yep,
Yeah, so the only thing that triggered that was not because we released the DEX, was not because we released a staking pool, it was not because we released an NFT collection. The only reason why that pump happened is because the official X account quoted a tweet from Elmo, right? That's everything that happened. And we went suddenly almost to all-time high, right? And I think that as a meme coin, you can build whatever you want, right? But it will not make a difference. I think always you will need some kind of sparkle, right? Like we have seen with a lot of projects, like Grok, for example, right? That one was pumping whenever Ellens wrote anything about Grok, it's pumping, right? Every single time. Um, the same is with what was with Pepe in the early days as well, right? Pepe was kind of like it did pretty well, but then also Elon Musk started dropping like memes and all that stuff with Pepe, and you know that kind of accelerated everything, right? I think a lot is dependent on in memes on as
I'm
well.
sorry. You've gotten really soft for some reason. I don't know if you moved away from your mic, but I'm
No,
starting to have a
I'm
hard time
outside.
hearing you.
No, maybe it's because I'm standing outside right now. I'm smoking in the
Yeah,
middle. So, but what I'm saying is that that we can build everything we promised and we can release it now. But I can tell you it won't make much of a difference. You know,
right.
it won't make much of a difference. I think for a meme to really move, you need, first of all, a very strong community ready to support any type of marketing, because just doing marketing without a community is senseless. It's just going to be a pump and dump, right? As a meme, you need to have a community that is ready to actually support that marketing, you know, to actually push with you, you know, like this message of whatever marketing message we're sending out, right? Um, but I'm saying, we will be able to, and by I think 2 to 3 months, I think then we will be able to kind of execute our plan, and then things will change.
Yeah,
Because then we will see a lot of people just day trading on Elmo, something which we don't have right now, right? And most of these memes, they are getting big on day traders because they buy and then they sell and then they get wrecked and they buy again and then they sell again, and you know they keep on buying and selling all the way up to the top, right? Um, if you go now to any like hyped meme, you will see, if you go to Dexos, you can see how many transactions each wallet has. You'll see wallets with hundreds of transactions because they just day trade on that chart, right? They just do on their own 100 200,000 dollars of volume, right? One wallet. um, and that is something we don't have. So for example, to to get trending on Dex tools for Elmo right now, it's like almost impossible. It's impossible because we don't have the volume, and we will not have that volume with the 10% burn tax. You know, because the 95% of the entire meme market, they don't want to pay tax, right? They just want to trade. They just want to do a degen, or so to say, right? But the more degens you have, so to look at your chart, I mean, the more, of course, chances you have that it breaks out, right? Than just having a couple of people looking at it.
Right. So Elmo is, hopefully by the end of the year, there are things that are being worked out for Elmo. Let's just leave it at that. Elmo's not forgotten about.
Elmo is a very bullish narrative, to be honest, because like you saw last time, X mentioned just one quote of Elmo, the official Elmo account. Look what happened, right? Now imagine what if, for example, Elon Musk just drops a how do you call it? He just drops a meme with Elmo in it. It will take fire immediately because we are the only Elmo token out there with decent liquidity, right? So
Yeah.
everybody will buy our token. Actually, the same happened once. I think President Biden, he replied to an Elmo post. Also, then you saw a little like a pump, right? These kind of small things they will trigger at some point. When we don't know, but. I do know that Elon Musk is himself actively investing in meme coins. So maybe he will buy Elmo one day.
Oh, that would be awesome. uh, all right. So yeah, let's, everybody just stay chill with Elmo. These guys are holding it down. They've got a plan. And, you can say that all the time, and we do say it all the time. Trust the dev team. The dev team has a plan. And it's like, okay, well, can they get this plan going like next week or whatever? There's a lot of impatience, but we've
Yeah,
seen a
it's very
lot of.
difficult. It's very difficult in the market like this where there are so many memes pumping and launching to stay patient. I mean, I do understand that, right?
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
I hold a lot of tokens which I hold already for 5 or 6 months or sometimes even a year, and I'm thinking like, shit, man, I should have actually bought this one instead. But instead I decided to just hold it, right? And that is, I think, in Elmo that's probably the best choice you have, because Elmo is kind of at a real floor. I think it can go maybe a little lower, but I don't see it going much lower than it is now. But the idea is as well to actually, because the reason we don't pump so hard on Elmo is because we have too much liquidity, if you know what I mean, right? So a 5 Ethereum buy will not move the chart as much as on, for example, a project that has half of our liquidity. There the price would just skyrocket, right, with a 5 Ethereum buy. So that's also something to do with that plan, right? To maybe reduce the liquidity a little on DEX and provide it more over centralized exchanges as well, so that then there's more like a possibility to pump it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, awesome. So again, end of the year, hopefully we'll see some things going on for Elmo, but the guys have a plan, so everybody just relax about it. Back to MMA for a second. And I'm trying to, and I'm going through mentally in my mind the kind of things that you went through at the beginning in your little synopsis. Um, currently how many players are there in this beta that are actually, when it's launched, we're going to see and be able to play? How many are there, and can you name them?
Not so many currently playing like live. No, not so many. Simply because the server isn't set up correctly, because we
No,
are
no, no.
using
I'm talking about the characters, not people playing the game. I'm talking about.
Okay. I'm sorry. I mean, we had like 300 or 400 downloads, right? Just to clarify that part. But
Okay.
if it's about characters, I believe it's 9 in the next release.
Yeah.
So it's Elmo, Ship, Pepe, Doge, One, Dork Lord, Sharby, Pork, Dogelon, Volt, and I think Smurfcat. And I think that's all 9 of them. And then we're working right now on a partnership with Dakat, which is it's not a very big market cap project, but it's a very, very nice project with a very dedicated community. And we are working on a partnership with Bob Token, Bob ETH, which is a quite well-known token that actually launched pretty much at the same time with Elmo, right? So I remembered it was kind of like the Three Musketeers was Pepe, Elmo, and Bob over a year ago, because we were like the 3 that were very bullish. And then we're still having one more in the making, actually 2 more, but I don't want to disclose any information about that yet, because those are bigger projects that you actually kind of sign NDAs with and all that kind of stuff, right? So
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing too, is that, sometimes people don't hear a lot of information coming out or whatever, but like we're trying to point out, that doesn't mean things aren't happening in the background. There are a lot of conversations that are going on with, some things that would make people really, really happy if they come to fruition. But until you get to a certain point in the negotiations where it's a definite, you really can't really talk about those things. So to the community, just know that these guys are working kind of around the clock, having conversations with some big things. As Elmoshi said, they've really kind of elevated and stepped up. When I talk, and I still talk to Elmofo Dev regularly, right? Um, and I hear a lot of the things that are going on kind of behind the scenes that maybe a lot of people aren't really privy to. And he's right; they have really stepped up who they're dealing with, who they're trying to work out deals with, who is coming on board. It's people at this point are paying attention, and even though maybe the price isn't moving the way you would expect, or the beta isn't released as fast as you would expect, the team and the really core handful of really dedicated community members are doing their best to really push the information out. I think that a lot more people know about Meme Alliance than maybe you would realize. A lot of people are watching
Yeah,
it.
I think that
Yeah, right?
if you look at our followers, we have some really big accounts following us, right?
There you go.
And they don't just follow us just because they just follow us. They follow us because they're interested to see what happens, right? Because I think every single person in crypto, if you tell them about our concept, it's just extremely bullish. There is no other explanation for it. I mean, creating partnerships with big meme coins and creating an extremely high quality game around that, it's an extremely strong concept, right? Marketing wise, but also um, in a way of people wanting to play it, right? Because these communities, they will want to play it, right? And that's I think people need to realize that concept is unique and it's a very strong concept. And I think over time, it's also going to be a marketing tool at the same time. It's marketing for us as well, right? These partnerships. Um, like having AMAs with Doggelon like weekly or once in a while. I mean, that's not something small, right? Doggelon is a big project, so we're going to see much more of that in the future.
And so, not financial advice, but if you read between the lines on that, I think what we're trying to tell you is that now is kind of a great time. It really is. And we say it all the time, right? Oh, get in now because it's going to blow up. But a lot of times people will say that just because they want you to get in and help push the price. But sometimes you have a project like this where there really genuinely are some really big things going on. And once these things actually work themselves out and are announced, they are things that are going to be catalysts. There are things that are definitely going to, again, market conditions and everything else like that. Everything's going to fall into place. But there are things that can really push the price. And
Yeah,
so
I think
again,
immutable is going to be one of those very big
I'm going
catalysts
to get
once
to
they.
immutable. I'm going to get to
Yes.
immutable in a second. Yeah, because we need to talk about that a little bit. But yeah, just to finish the thought, there are definitely things that could potentially push his price, and so it's not financial advice, but just here's the information. Do with it what you will. That's basically what I'll say about that. Let me just look really quick, Elmoshi, at the chat again, because I thought I saw something that somebody had something they wanted to ask you. And I think it was DEF CON. Where did I see it? Oh yeah. He said, how about characters from base? Are you working on any characters with any base characters or anything? Is that something that you can integrate?
Yeah, I mean, we're open to any characters. Doesn't matter which chain, really. It doesn't have to necessarily mean that our token is on their chain, right? The ultimate goal is to have our own marketplace, which is going to be multi-chain anyway, so we can integrate their token even, right? So it doesn't really matter for us which chain it is.
Yeah. Okay. And Carlos says, well, I don't know if you heard it, Carlos, but we just kind of talked about it a little bit as far as Elmo goes. Price expectations for the end of the year. It's always difficult to give anybody a price expectation. It's almost a stupid thing to do, because there's just no way to tell. You don't have a crystal ball. You can't tell what the market is going to do. There's so much going on in the world. There are just too many variables. But
Yes, and you also have whales, right? You never know what
right.
whales can do exactly. So, even in MMA, we have some very big holders. I mean, if one decides to unload his bag, it doesn't matter what market cap you are, you will see a significant dip. That's just how it is in crypto, right?
Yeah. Carlos says that he's here and holding since 2 cents. So you bought in at 2 cents. He says, I'm down, but I'm here. I know a little bit about Carlos at this point because he's involved in another project that I work with kind of closely. And he is I don't know how much Elmo he's holding, but I know he's a whale in that other project, like a huge whale. So, but he's a smart guy and he knows, I'm sorry, my camera keeps doing crazy things. He knows to buy it and hold it when there's potential. He recognizes that. So I appreciate it. Let's see. Let's see. I will be around. All right. Okay. Immutable. I do want to talk to you about Immutable. Immutable, so I looked into it a little bit. I don't know a whole hell of a lot about Immutable because I'm not really much of a gamer. It's not that I don't like playing games. I just very rarely find the time to do it. So I looked into it just briefly, and I'm trying to figure out everything that Immutable does a million different things. They do things that you guys probably don't even need for what you're trying to do, but they seem to be really, really big. But for gaming, for GameFi, correct me if I'm wrong, they look like they're the kind of the guys to go to, yeah?
Correct. I mean, also market cap wise is the biggest gaming platform, right? So a little bit about Immutable. Immutable kind of launched as a game developer themselves. They were not a chain before. They actually were a game developer of online games, and one of their games is called Guild of Guardians, which is quite a big game actually. It's played quite a lot. But after a time, they actually, I guess they saw the issue, right? That in Web3 there is a very hard transition for Web2 people, and that's kind of what Immutable built, right? It's very easily accessible for regular gamers as well. You don't need to actually know anything about crypto because your Passport wallet is just like a log on like any Steam account, right? You don't even have to know anything about crypto to use our platform. And I think that's why they built it, right? Because they probably saw that issue developing their own games. And a lot of people is asking us like, why did Immutable never announce a partnership and so on and so on? Well, that is because Immutable is actually a big project that actually does their due diligence, right? So they will not announce anything until we have our game integrated with their Passport wallet, right? And that makes total sense because you can be a scam, right? And you can make up you have a game and they would announce it, but you're a scam, then they would rug it, right? So I do understand their point of view totally. We won't get any announcements from them until our game has their integration, right? And I think that is it's very very smart of them to do that, right? But yeah, Immutable, it's a big project. I think it's in the top 15 cryptos in general at some like around 1 billion market cap, if I'm not mistaken. And they don't only actually do what, like you said, what we need them to do, right? They actually do a lot. They can even develop our game if we want to, right? They can even help us develop our game because they're game developers, right? Themselves. So, but I think the most beautiful thing about Immutable is their chain. It's very low in gas fees. It's kind of like Solana if it's about gas fees. And the most beautiful part for us as developers is that everything is prepared for you. You don't have to build your own marketplace. You just click a couple of buttons and there you go, right? So I think that's what makes Immutable stand out, that they have everything prepared for us and everything prepared for the gamers, right?
Yeah, I saw that they had marketplace integration. I also saw the tweet that you guys put out about how um, you'd be taking advantage of those things, plus conversations that we've had, you and I, yesterday, day before yesterday. I think you mentioned that it'll be that much quicker, that much easier to actually launch the marketplace for Meme Alliance.
Yeah.
It'll be able to come out fast. So had you not started building the marketplace yet? You're just going to start doing it with Immutable?
Yeah, that's the kind of the idea for now, right? It's kind of like a startup temporarily kind of thing. I mean, we will always stay on Immutable. It's not temporarily. I shouldn't say it that way, but I mean, once we have more revenue streams and so on, then we will start building our own marketplace, right? I mean, it's not a problem about building the marketplace itself. I mean, that's not an issue, right? We could probably do it ourselves mostly, even within our team, right? Because we have designers, we have full stack developers, but it's just that maintaining such marketplace can be very costly, right? And I'm talking about servers, security, APIs, and so on. These things are very expensive, right? So when Immutable reached out to us, we were like, okay, right? So, I guess that we could first start building our game on their chain and their marketplace, and once revenue kind of starts, flowing in, then we can start building our own marketplace, right?
Okay.
It's
Um,
just a simple solution for us right now. It's pretty much a free solution for us, so to say, right?
yeah. Are you still building and dealing with the Unreal Engine 5 guys?
Yes.
Okay. All right. All right. So I'm looking through some of this stuff on just kind of on the main page here on Immutable. I don't know if you can see the screen. I think you can. Um, and a couple of things kind of struck me. So it says appeal to mainstream gamers. I know that one of the big things that like Johnny was talking about what in a conversation that we were having actually is will Meme Alliance be able to make the transition over to console gamers or just like this says mainstream gamers, people who game who have nothing to do with crypto? Can you actually do that? So am I reading this correctly? It says our wallet UX caters to all kinds of gamers with its integrated credit card payments. One of the things that I had said was
Yes.
that, listen, if somebody's not involved in crypto, they probably don't want to be involved in crypto. They don't want to have to open up a wallet and do all these things in order to play your game. So am I reading this correctly? Is this a way that they can actually play the game without having to do all that?
Well, I mean, it's called Passport Wallet, but it feels like logging onto any other platform like Steam, right? Like, for
Okay.
example, if you go onto Steam, you can play for free, or if you want to, you can buy games, right? And
Yes.
if you want to buy games, you kind of just connect your credit card to your account, and it does that for you. So the Passport Wallet allows that all basically to be pretty much the same as in Steam, and that's actually what makes Immutable so amazing for all gaming projects, is that the transitioning exactly from Web 2 into Web 3, or even keeping it as a Web 2, right? It's super simple. It really feels like logging into any other game, right? Um, you don't even need to understand a seed phrase. It's actually just you log in with your email, right? And that is your wallet, pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah, and
Um,
inside that you have all options. You have buy, you have sell, you have swap, you have directly going to the marketplace inside the wallet, right? So it's all very simple. And if you're not into crypto and you see you want to buy this asset for X amount of dollars, you can just do that with your credit card. Well, on the background, what happens, which the user then doesn't see, is that actually on the background, the credit card buys crypto to spend it on the asset and then sends the asset to the user, right? But the user doesn't see the involvement of crypto at all there. It feels
yeah,
like
that's
buying anything in a store, right? Online store.
Yeah, that's all the APIs. Honestly, that's a game changer.
Yes.
I don't know.
Yes.
I don't know if enough emphasis is being put on that because it really even changes my mind a little bit about the integration with GameFi to mainstream gamers. Because if they can do exactly what you just said, just like they do with Steam, put the credit card in, buy the game. They don't even have to know anything about crypto or that crypto is being exchanged or anything. They just put their
Yeah.
credit card in, they play Meme Alliance. If that can happen that easily, it really is a game changer. I think that's awesome. That's probably one of the most impressive things that I've heard yet, to be honest with you. I really like that.
Yeah, I mean that's the whole idea of immutable, right? Um, and I guess that's why it's maybe also called immutable. That in a way that that it's kind of not feeling like you have to mute anything, if you know what I mean, right? It's like simple, easy. You just do it quickly.
Right.
Um, yeah, and it's like even with NFTs, right? So we as crypto people see it as NFTs, but they will just see it as in-game items, like you have in any other game, right? In Fortnite or Counter-Strike or Call of Duty, they just see it as an in-item game, right? We would call it NFTs because crypto people, they would know that you will be able to sell it as well, while normal users that are actually not even used to it, you can sell assets after you bought them, right? Will just see it as an asset, like in any other game.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That that
it's an extremely big thing for us.
That is really, really cool. And they deal with
Yeah,
NFTs too. Now I know that NFTs are going to be a part in the game. I mean, kind of all the marketplace stuff, right? So if you're buying
yes,
weapons, if you're buying that's kind of NFT integrated, right? Isn't that pretty much
yes,
how that works?
yes.
And so
That's also what makes Web3 gaming so much cooler than Web2 because you actually really own the product, right? The assets, you actually own it in your wallet. You
right.
know, you can sell it, you can transfer it. Like when you buy anything in whatever game in Web2, you know, you buy it and it's done, right? You have to keep it, if you know what I mean, right?
Right.
But in Web3, people can actually trade it as well. So I think that's really cool about Web.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward
You can make
to
money,
play.
Trev. You can start making money.
Who can make money? Me? I don't make
Yeah,
it. I
everybody.
just I'm convinced that I just lose money. I don't make money anymore.
Yeah, same thing. But you know what I mean, right? If people want a game and they want to make money, then Web3 is the way to go.
Yeah, no, it is really, really cool. I really can't wait until you guys actually stop being so nitpicky about this beta and just release the damn thing so we can play it. I think it's going to be exciting. I'm looking forward to it. I really, really am.
I'm also
All right,
very
so
impatient. To be
I'm
honest,
sorry.
Trev, to be honest, Trev, I'm also very impatient. If it's about like waiting for things, you know, like in my team, also they know I'm always rushing everything. I want to have everything now, but
Yeah.
in the end, they teach me as well. It's better to sometimes wait, you know, and to not rush things because when you rush things, you make mistakes, you know.
Well, that's Elmo Dev. Oh my goodness, the guy has the patience of a saint. It's like, how can you not be excited and just want to rush this out? But he has so much experience that he knows when you do that, that's when you screw something up, right? So he's constantly telling
I
me.
mean,
He just laughs at me and
he's a
tells me just
coder.
really,
He's a
yeah,
coder.
exactly.
So yeah, as a coder, you know
Attention to
that, right?
detail, right?
Yes, you cannot mess up in the code because it will not
Yeah,
work, right? So
right.
exactly, he has that from there probably.
It's just a mindset that I cannot understand. I really
No,
can't.
man, same. I'm working in finance and everything has to be fast, right? So I'm always in a rush, if you know what I mean. So
Right. Same with us. We're
yeah,
constantly trying to find ways. I hate to say it, but it's real. We're constantly trying to find ways to cut corners and get something done faster because we're working on a lot of times. The faster we get it done, the higher our profit level, right? So it's always boom, boom, boom. Let's go. Let's move. Let's get this done. And maybe that's where my mindset comes from.
yeah, but
So
that's I think the good thing about our team. Our mindset is not around money actually at all. You know, I mean, if it would be about money, we would have launched another shitcoin, if you know what I mean. I mean, if you want to make money in crypto, it's very simple. If you want to make money, right? If you want to be a how do you call it, a scammer or a rug pull, or you know, you can make a lot of money in crypto. And actually MMA for us, and the same as Elmo, it's had never been about money for us. Like we're actually in a deep loss in our pockets, if you ask us, right? Because you know everything we receive from the pre-sale is never enough to cover what we have already done so far, including all the liquidity, all the exchange things with Maxi, market makers, and then the game development on top. You know, we have already reached that cap a long time ago from the pre-sale, right? So,
yeah.
and we have no revenue streams as well. So we have actually been kind of, you know, taking it from our own pockets lately, which is fine, right? We don't mind because we actually like what we're doing. You know, we are not doing this against our own will, if you know what I mean, right?
Yeah,
We actually like doing this.
I do, and I hear that, and that sounds great. But I mean, let's be fair. If you didn't believe that this thing was actually going to push and launch and do really well and be successful and make everybody money and make your money back, it's nice to say we're not in it for the money. And I know that you guys are putting a lot out of your pockets, but you expect to get it back.
Of
Plus, I
in
mean,
a way,
otherwise,
yes, but I honestly think in crypto you can never expect to get back, you know, because I've seen many projects in crypto building the most amazing stuff in the world and they never ever got the recognition they deserve, right? So, you know, in crypto it's never a guarantee, right? But the plus in crypto is that you don't need as much money as you need in a normal retail environment to do such a thing. Because if you want to build a game, a successful game in Web2, it's going to cost you a lot more money, if you know what I mean.
yeah, I'm gonna, for my own sake, I'm gonna continue to believe that you guys want to get your money back. Because for me, let me tell you what that means for me.
Of course,
For,
of course. That
for,
makes
for
sense, right?
me, for me, it means if I'm going to invest in something and I know that the team is coming out of their own pocket with big, big money, right? But it's two different things, right? If I know that a team is doing that, but it's like they've got all kind of FU money and they don't care, they're just having fun. I don't really have a lot of confidence that it's really going to go somewhere. But if I know that a team is coming out of their pocket and it's a struggle to do so, but they're doing it because they really believe in it and they know that they're going to get
Yeah.
their money back, that's going to give me more confidence to actually invest in something. So when I
Yeah, I mean
say,
that's also why teams like ours, they take team tokens, right? It's kind of like a motivation to, keep building on it, right? I mean, I don't believe that there is a lot of projects out there that are very serious that don't actually take team tokens, because the team tokens are the thing that kind of also motivates us, like you say, right? But in the long run, obviously, you want to make money, right? You want to have revenue from it. But we
yes,
also know that we are kind of like a startup, and startups are kind of always, in a debt, like that's just how it is, right? And we're aware of that, but we are also aware that if everything works out, then it's going to be more than amazing for us, but also for our investors, right?
I had one more question I wanted to ask you. And I should have asked it to you before, but we get going on all kind of things and end up all over the place. Uh, you said there were like nine. I counted 10. I could have counted wrong, but you said there are nine characters currently in the game. There are always slots open for new ones to come in. Are the currencies of all nine of those characters going to be integrated still into the game where you can actually shop in the marketplace and use the
Yes,
different currencies? Yes.
yes, but not in the IMX one, because IMX would require all those tokens to bridge to IMX, right? I mean, if they're open to do that, to bridge
Right.
their token to IMX, yes. But that's going to be on our own marketplace, right? Not on
Okay.
IMX.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's kind of where I was going with it. Right. Okay, so on the individual, the MMA marketplace, you will be able to use those currencies. Now, another thing that was said was that if you hold MMA token, if you hold Elmo, you may actually be able to purchase things with those currencies for a little cheaper than maybe what it would cost you to use any of the other currencies. Is that still the mindset, or are you
Yes, that's still the mindset for our own
okay?
marketplace. Yes.
Okay, all right, makes sense to me, and I hope that everybody that comes on board is okay with that too. As far as all the other projects and stuff, and they realize, listen, this is an MMA project, it's an Elmo project, so obviously the project has got to continue to make money somehow to pay you guys back and to continue to build. So I'm glad to hear that that's still kind of the way that you guys are going about it.
No, I mean, everything we said, like before we launched MMA, and also like we promised the AMA community, nothing has changed there. Everything is the same.
All right.
No,
All right.
it doesn't mean that that things don't go as fast as some hope, and as we sometimes hope ourselves. That's just how it is, right?
Right. All right. Get me hype, right? And tell me real quick, once this beta is released for everybody to use, what are some of the really big things that we're going to see that we didn't see in the first beta that are really going to get us going?
Well, I think the most important thing there is going to be the leaderboard, right? So people will be motivated to play, and it's going to be a weekly leaderboard. So every week you have another chance to be in the top, let's say top 5 or top 10, to earn actually money, right? So it's not only about playing the game; it's actually you can actually earn with it if you're in the top performers. On top of that, I think the most bullish thing, which is maybe not so much interesting for our investors, but for us as developers, is we're gonna have our own self-built server, right? And not anymore a third-party server. And why is that important for us? Is because right now, this third-party server does not allow, for example, people to join an already ongoing game, right? And by building our own server, we can kind of tweak the specifics a bit, that whenever you are doing a matchmaking, you're pretty much always going to find a match, right? Not like right now that you need another player at the same time, looking at the same time. No, in our new server, you should be able to pretty much play always, right? Even if it's only against bots, but the bots will be pretty good and pretty close to humans, so that's nice as well. But also, you could potentially just join a game which is already ongoing with real players, right? Which I think is important.
Yeah, that's awesome. You
Yeah.
had said something about special powers too.
Yes, every character will have a special power. Yes, so you can basically use that every time you respawn. You can use it. Not long ago, we dropped a video from Ship. I think that Ship has a special power that it can basically run on 4 legs, and
Running around, yeah, like a dog. Yeah, I saw
yeah,
it.
and can kill you basically with the claws and that kind of stuff. And then Pepper will also have like a special power that for 5 seconds it will have like a green orb around it, so it's invincible. Every character has its own you know, special power. It makes it interesting to play with each character, right? Not always the same one.
So let me understand it. Every time you spawn, you will have this special ability to use once until the next time you spawn, or is
Yes.
it that you have to earn so many kills or
No, no,
whatever, and then it becomes available to you?
no. The special power is for everyone. You don't have to kill anyone. It's just you have it every single time you spawn, basically.
Oh, and you can use it indefinitely, or you can only use it once for a certain amount of seconds, and then you'll get it back again next time you spawn.
No, you can basically use it once every time you spawn, right? So if you, for
Okay.
example, use it once, then you cannot reuse it until you die. Let's say it in that way. On top of that, we will have kill streaks as well. Like we had already now UAV, but we will also have airstrikes. We will have drones. We will have turrets. You know, we will have a lot of extra stuff going on.
Yeah, I saw the video of the turrets and everything. So anybody who's watching this video, if you haven't seen a lot of this stuff, go on the Meme Alliance Twitter or X account, and there are a shitload of videos there of gameplay. These guys like to get on often and play, and then it's recorded and cut up into clips and put on like where'd my camera go again? And put on X. But you also have a YouTube and you have a TikTok, and there's a bunch of different ways that people can see the stuff, right?
Yeah, we are pretty much on all socials:
Yeah.
Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, uh,
Okay.
YouTube. Yeah.
Yeah. So all this information is out there, and if you watch it, it really, really is impressive. All right, just real quick, let me go back to the chat and see if anybody has anything important to say. Let's go buy MMA tokens. That's important. Thanks, Carlos. Gaming is going to bring crypto mainstream. I need to learn how to play, and I don't play games since arcade machine. Oh my goodness. All right. We just had a go. Yeah, we were talking about that, Peter. Peter says he invests for money, not for love. Exactly. Too many people get too emotionally attached to a project and they forget what they're actually supposed to be there for, and that's to make money. Question. Any thought on temporarily integrating political tokens into MMA until after the election to help bring in interest in the project? I mean, I've got some thoughts on that, but I'll let you answer it.
I mean, no, not really. I think that
Yeah,
I think it's mainly also because there's why do you think none of these political tokens have been listed on a big exchange yet, right? It's the same thing.
right. Yeah,
I think you
that's
don't want
very
to tie
that's
your
very
game or your product too much to politics, you know,
Yeah,
because it can have.
that's very kind of come and go. It's very niche. It might be cute for a minute and then nobody cares about it. And
Yeah,
developing these things
but some people might really hate Trump or might really hate Biden or whatever, right?
exactly right.
And
And
they might get pissed off by it, you know.
you can isolate some of your exactly right. So and not only that, it takes a lot to develop these things. So to put that kind of energy and effort and money into developing something that isn't going to really last. Nobody's really going to care about this in another 6 months or 9 months or whatever. It doesn't really make any sense, but it was a good question. It sounds good. I hope it works for you all and the is players and investors. Okay, good discussion. Thank you, Pete. Thank you, Peter. If more people knew about Elmo ERC and MMA, people investing now, including the devs, would be very wealthy. Yeah, it really is a matter at this point, I think, of really doing what you guys can to get the word out as you've been doing. Obviously, you already kind of explained what the marketing kind of blitz is going to be and when that'll come. Uh, but when we talk about CEXs and those kind of things, that's all well and good. This kind of project seems to me that the main thing that you need is more eyes, more players. People playing the game will bring all that other stuff, right? So, yeah, and Paul, you can do, and I know you've done your thing, right? But everybody does their thing to get the information out. That's really what we can do to help the team right now, and just trust that they've got a plan and that things are going really, really well. So, is there anything you wanted to wrap up with, Elmoshi?
Yeah, I think that people sometimes underestimate the power they have themselves to make, to make a statement or to to get more people inside a specific project. Like a lot of people, they think, but what does it do when I'm on my own going to shill on X, or even tell my, my grandmother or whatever, right? But, if 100 people do that, it does have a big impact. And in this case, I'm speaking about both Elmo and MMA, right? I think that people need to realize that in crypto, the community is partially also the marketing, that's just how it works. I mean, especially because the community knows us, they know that generally, I guess, we can be trusted, right? So it's much easier for them to recommend a project like ours, right, than just a random person. Sorry, smoking in me was so warm here, man. But yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to say. I think people need to realize that they also have an impact, right?
I've kind of told this story before, but just really quick. When I first started this channel, no, not like a hell of a lot of people know me now, but I'm just saying like nobody knew me, right? I had, probably less than 50 subscribers. One thing that I would do, and it didn't take a lot of effort. If I made a video, let's say I made a video on Shiba Inu, that was one of the things I was talking about kind of at the beginning. I would go on X and I would just put in the search bar Shiba Inu, right? And I would pull, you can change it so that it gives you like the recent things that have been said about posts that have been made about Shiba Inu. I would do that. It would pull up all the posts. I would find ones that had a shitload of responses, right? And then I would copy the link to my video and I would go in and I would just paste on everybody that responded to that post. I would just reply to them and I would just paste my video. Sometimes I might even say something like if they made a comment, I might even just put a little comment to talk about what they said to kind of personalize it a bit. Maybe I would do that 10 or 15 minutes a day. It had an unbelievable effect. I had a lot of people coming in and watching the video and subscribing to the channel. It really didn't take a hell of a lot of effort. I'm sitting in my chair in my underwear doing this, right? So imagine if 50 or 100 of you were out there doing the same thing for MMA and Elmo. The guys post something in the Telegram or something comes out on TikTok or whatever it is, copy it. Go to Twitter and just pull up, GameFi or anything like that, right? And just, you got some of these big influencers or whatever, and they got a shitload of people that are replying to them. Go through and paste it on everybody. Boom, 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 boom. Doesn't take any effort. Doesn't really take a lot of time. You'd really be surprised how well that would actually help to get the word out there. But essentially,
actually, my story in crypto is very similar. I actually entered like with nothing, right? I kind of like joined a community, and that project was at, I think, 100,000 market cap at the moment I joined. And actually, what I did there as a community member, right? I wasn't part of the team or anything like that. I just started to kind of create this kind of shilling spirit kind of thing, right? And actually, that was the first project I ever invested in, and I made good money because we all as a community started, to get the word out, that run all the way to 8 million, So I did it personally an ATX on that. And I think that if you as a community get together and do your thing, it has a major impact, like you say, Trevor, even as an individual, right? But actually, this is funny that this is my first experience with crypto, is that I can confirm, right, that this is true. That this actually really works.
Yeah, it does. And I've made comments before about the community with Elmo, and a lot of people took offense. But sometimes the truth hurts. Elmo has a good community, has some really, really good guys. But I could count maybe on two hands, I could count the guys that you see all the time that are posting, reposting on Twitter, in the Telegram room, keeping the thing going. I don't know how many thousands of followers it actually has, but there's only a handful of guys who are really working their asses off.
And in the beginning we had hundreds,
right.
When we just launched, we had hundreds of people that were going insane on Telegram and on Twitter.
And look, that's the main reason. And look what the price did. So, I mean,
exactly.
It really speaks, it speaks directly to it, right? So as soon as the next shiny thing comes up and everybody goes and starts talking about that, they'll pump that one, then that dumps, and then they'll go to the next one. And that's what's happening. But if you guys that have been involved in MMA and in Elmo from the beginning would put in 5-10 minutes a day to just do some of the things that I suggested, right? So easy to do. You would be amazed at the effect that it would have. Elmo and MMA have a good community of really, really good people, smart people, and all that. But y'all are lazy as hell sometimes. I got to be honest with you. You're too lazy sometimes. If you want to push this thing, it's your bag. You've got to do some of the work too. You really do. Help these guys out. All right. It was a pleasure talking to you, my friend. It's been a while. I know, we kind of like pass each other like two ships in the night sometimes. But thank you very much for being here and telling us all about Immutable and about what's coming up from MMA. And let me know, man. Hit me up. Let me know when this thing is ready to launch, and let's get on and let everybody know about it.
Sure, man. Thanks a lot for having me, Trev. Thanks. I appreciate
brother.
you taking your time and actually, you're the only person, one of the little people in crypto I actually have to ask for such things. You actually, reach out yourself, and I appreciate that.
No, yeah, no, I love it. I really do. I mean, listen, honestly, it's selfish in a little way because this is me, you know, working for my own bag, and I don't have a huge bag of MMA or whatever right now. I've made some swaps. I've had to do some things, unfortunately, financially. But I have every intention of continuing to build and build. I've had trouble with work lately. A lot of people know about that. But once I actually get back into working full time, I have every intention of building and building and building. And so this is me working for my bag, but it's also me working for these guys that I've known for a while that I really appreciate. And no, this is not a sponsored video. These guys don't give me anything for this. This is because I believe in these guys. I know that they're legit. I know what they can do. I know their intentions. And if there's any little bit that I can help, this is what I'll do. And I'm telling you guys to put in 5-10 minutes. We're looking at an hour and a half here. We've been chatting, so I'm going to let you go. And I will talk to you again very shortly.
All right, man. Thanks, Trev. Thanks.
All right, brother. Have a good one.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Everybody in the chat, thank you guys very much for being here. Don't forget to like the video on the way out if you haven't already. Feel free to share it. Any of you guys that are really good with taking these little video clips and cutting them up into little pieces and posting them, feel free to do that too. Go right ahead. You know what I mean? If there's anything that I can do to help you, providing you with the raw footage or whatever, let me know. I'll do that also when I can. Time is kind of short lately, but yeah, little clips of this long video actually will go a long way to getting the information out there too. So again, thank you very much, and I'll see you next time. Ciao.